Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. In today's occasion, let me introduce myself. My name is Fatima Azahra, and today I would like to present my reflections on learning experience in the course Principles of Teaching and Assessment II in Primary and Secondary Schools. And the content of these presentations are the first one, review of learning experience, and then reflections on learning experience, and then analysis of learning artifacts, and the last one is reflection results in the form of meaningful learning. And the topic in this course are the first one, understanding student characteristics through initial assessment, and then the second one is about the teaching at the right level approach in the teaching and assessment planning. But before that, the review of learning experience. From these 4 questions, I choose the first question, that is, what learning experience were useful and interesting? Well, learning about initial assessment and the teaching at the right level, or TARL approach, helped me understand the importance of identifying students' actual learning levels before planning instruction. I found it useful to practice designing assessments that reveal students' needs, and interesting to see how this data can guide differentiated teaching. This topic taught me that effective teaching starts with knowing the learner and being flexible in instruction to support their growth. And from those 2 topics here, I choose the topic 1 about understanding student characteristics through initial assessment. So from the Merdeka framework, there are several stages that we have been through. The first one is about mulai dari diri. In this stage, we discuss the initial reflections of pre-service teachers on their experiences and understanding in designing instruction and assessment that align with students' characteristics based on observations and field teaching practice. And then on the exploratory concept stage, we discuss the fundamentals of designing effective instruction and assessment using the understanding by design approach, the importance of understanding student characteristics, and the implementations of appropriate teaching approaches such as teaching at the right level and culturally responsive teaching. Next, on the ruang kolaborasi stage, we discuss some group discussions to confirm understanding and to select appropriate assessment technique and instrument based on the student's characteristics. And on the demonstrasi contextual stage, we discuss the implementation and results of an initial assessment to map the student characteristic as a basis for designing learning and assessment plans. And then continuing to the elaborasi pemahaman stage, here we discuss reflection and discussion on the results of the initial assessment of students' characteristics, as well as how to apply those results in designing learning and assessment plans. And then for the koneksi antar materi stage, we discuss the relationship between student characteristic, lesson planning, also the nature of the subject matter being taught. And the last stage on the Merdeka framework is aksi nyata stage, where we discuss the development of lesson plans and assessment based on the mapping of student characteristics using the TARL approach, or teaching at the right level, and CRT, or culturally responsive teaching, in order to create adaptive, inclusive, and meaningful learning. On this topic, we have done some project from mulai dari diri until aksi nyata, and here is an example of learning artifacts. I choose the aksi nyata. We have to mention the characteristic of the students, but since the place of the PPL1 and PPL2 is the same place here, so I found no difference from the geography and then budaya, ekonomi from the students. And here are the results. Aspek yang diamati geografis, budaya, ekonomi, dan status di Asesmen 2 Kota Bogor. So the conclusion that I got is that meskipun tidak ada perbedaan antara sekolah PPL 1 dan PPL 2 karena keduanya dilakukan sama-sama di Asesmen 2 Kota Bogor, dinamika kelas dan strategi pembelajaran yang diterapkan dapat bervariasi tergantung pada karakteristik siswa dalam setiap kelas yang diajar. And here are the perbedaan karakteristik peserta didik di sekolah di SMA Negeri 2 Bogor. From the latar belakang peserta didik, and then perkembangan peserta didik, and then kesiapan belajar peserta didik, and here are the kesimpulan. Perbedaan dapat terlihat pada dinamika kelas dan cara siswa berpartisipasi dalam pembelajaran. Oleh karena itu, dalam perancangan pembelajaran saya menyesuaikan pendekatan dengan menerapkan diferensiasi pembelajaran, peer teaching, also problem-based learning, and scaffolding agar seluruh siswa dapat belajar secara optimal. Kurang lebihnya seperti itu. And the last content is about reflection results in the form of meaningful learning. So after studying understanding student characteristics through initial assessment, I realized that every student enters the classroom with different backgrounds, abilities, and also needs. A meaningful learning experience for me was understanding how initial assessments such as pre-tests, interviews, or observations can help uncover this difference early on. I learned that assessing students at the beginning is not about labeling them, but about recognizing where they are starting from so that I can better support their learning journey. This knowledge has helped me shift my perspective from focusing solely on curriculum delivery to focusing on student readiness and potential. This learning has motivated me to always begin instruction by truly getting to know my students academically, socially, and also emotionally, so I can design lessons that are more targeted, inclusive, and meaningful for everyone in the classroom. And I think that is all from my presentation. Thank you so much for the attention.